You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
You know, when you flip a light switch, you just expect the light to turn on.
Right. You don't really think about the local substation.
Exactly. You're not sitting there thinking about the transformer on your street or, like, the miles of copper wire hidden inside your walls. You just want the room to light up.
Yeah, you just want the electricity to work.
But if you were suddenly told that the entire power grid was being replaced overnight by something completely autonomous, well, you'd probably want to take a look at the wiring.
I mean, I definitely would. It is a fundamental re-architecture of how value moves across the globe.
And so today, we have this fascinating stack of industry newsletters from mid-June 2026. They cover the absolute bleeding edge of financial technology.
And the shifts happening here are moving much, much faster than the mainstream headlines suggest.
Yeah, which brings us to our mission for this deep dive into the source material. We want to uncover how AI agents and programmable money are, quietly rewiring the global financial system right behind the scenes. And, of course, what this massive shift means for your own financial future.
Because it really does impact everyone listening.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if you read the mainstream news, it is just full of flashy stories about consumer tech or the newest hardware gadgets.
Right, the shiny stuff.
Yeah, the shiny stuff. But the real revolution, the one that will actually dictate how you interact with money that's happening in the boring, invisible plumbing.
The infrastructure.
Exactly. And the first major theme from our sources today is that artificial intelligence has basically fundamentally stopped being just an assistant.
Yeah, it's moving from a tool that just helps humans do work to a full-on agent that executes complex financial workflows autonomously.
There is this great piece in our stack titled The Benchmark Will Eat Finance. And it argues that AI basically transforms whatever can be measured first.
That concept of the benchmark, I mean, that is the lens through which we really need to view this entire shift.
Because benchmarks are like the standardized tests for software, right?
Exactly. In software engineering, you have benchmarks that determine if code actually works or if a model is capable. And the argument in the sources is that the public discourse around AI often gets stuck in these philosophical debates.
Like, oh, is this going to displace jobs, or is enterprise AI actually delivering a return on investment?
Right, exactly. But behind the scenes, the benchmarks are getting hyper-specific. They create this measurable ladder. And the moment you build a measurable ladder, well, the AI just starts climbing it at blinding speed.
So let's ground this with a concrete example from the newsletters. Ramp, the finance automation company, they just launched a private benchmark they're calling SWE Bench.
And this isn't just some generic coding test, right?
No, not at all. It's not an AI writing a basic Hello World program. It's built from 80 production backend tasks that Ramp's own internal coding agent actually shipped.
Which they call inspect, right?
Yeah, inspect.
Wow.
So we're talking about real, highly sensitive financial software work here. Card authorization logic, bill pay routing.
Corporate treasury management, fraud detection, all the really critical stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So how do they even grade something like that?
Well, you have to pay really close attention to the scoring mechanism for a SWE bench, because that's where the massive leap happens. It's a strict pass or fail based on whether the AI agent can independently produce a review-ready patch.
Like, it flips a failing test to a passing test.
Yes, exactly. And the critical constraint here is that it has to do it within 45 minutes.
Wait, why 45 minutes specifically? Like, why that exact number?
Because that crosses the threshold of actual human utility. I mean, think about it. If a human engineer has to spend 3 hours reviewing an AI's code to make sure it didn't, accidentally break the entire billing system.
The AI isn't really saving the company any money or time.
Exactly. But if the agent can identify a broken piece of financial plumbing, write the complex back-end fix, verify that the fix works, and serve it up in under an hour. Yeah, you've fundamentally changed the speed limit of software development. This is no longer an AI just drafting a polite email for you. It's a digital worker.
It's like we're building self-driving cars, but instead of navigating traffic and pedestrians, these agents are navigating corporate treasuries and vendor payments.
That's a really good way to put it.
And it's not just Ramp doing this. Mercury just launched a product called Command. It's an AI-powered banking interface where founders can basically bypass traditional navigation entirely.
So no more clicking through drop-down menus trying to find an old receipt.
Right. You just use natural language. You literally tell the AI, hey, check my cash position across 3 accounts, create an invoice for this specific vendor, and categorize last month's AWS expenses, and it just executes the entire workflow.
And we are also seeing the underlying infrastructure really scale up to support this. Like, Adyen is leaning heavily into what they call agentic commerce.
What does that actually look like?
Well, they've built a suite of modular APIs designed specifically for conversational AI to be able to sell products natively.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but the most revealing partnership in the stack is Stripe teaming up with AWS. They are enabling a web application firewall, or WAY capability, that actually lets AI agents pay for content on the open web.
Wait, let me stop you right there. A web application firewall. Because I always thought a firewall was the thing that blocked hackers and, like, malicious bots from breaking into a website.
That's the traditional definition, yeah. It's basically the bouncer keeping the bad bots out of the club.
Right.
But Stripe and AWS are completely inverting that concept. Instead of just blocking automated traffic, this new Wave capability acts like a VIP entrance with a toll booth.
A toll booth for bots.
Exactly. It identifies that an incoming bot isn't malicious, but is actually an authorized AI agent acting on behalf of a human user. So the firewall lets the agent process a micropayment through Stripe and then instantly grants it access to the gated content or the API.
It is literally machines paying machines in real time.
Yes. And what's fascinating here is how this structurally shifts the power dynamics of the entire tech industry.
How so?
Well, for the last 20 years, the holy grail of software was building the system of record.
Oh, right. The whole SaaS era. Like, Salesforce owned your customer data, Snowflake owned your data warehouse, Workday had your HR files.
Yeah, and if you held the data, you had the durable moat. It was almost impossible for clients to leave because migration was too painful.
But that's changing now.
That was the old moat. In the agentic economy, the sources suggest the system of record is actually being commoditized. It's being replaced by what they call the clearinghouse.
The clearinghouse. Okay, break that down for me.
Think about the mechanics. If AI agents are the ones reading the databases and taking the actions, wiring money, changing backend code, authorizing user access, then the most valuable layer of the software stack isn't the database anymore.
Because the database is just raw material for the AI.
Exactly. The most valuable layer becomes the governor.
The system that dictates the rules of engagement.
Yes. The system that dictates what those autonomous agents are allowed to know, what they're allowed to see, what actions they can execute, and crucially, how they prove what they did after the fact.
The audit trail.
Right. The new durable moat is owning permissions, execution controls, and those audit trails. You need a neutral governance platform sitting between your raw data and these agent-native tools.
Because you really want to ensure a rogue AI doesn't, I don't know, accidentally wire $10 million to the wrong vendor just because of a hallucination.
Exactly, which would be catastrophic.
Which actually exposes a massive physical limitation in how we currently move money. Because if we have autonomous software agents capable of executing complex workflows in 45 minutes and firewalls processing machine-to-machine micropayments 24/7.
They cannot rely on traditional banking rails.
Right. You can't have an AI agent operating at the speed of light suddenly pause its workflow to wait for a wire transfer to clear on a Tuesday just because Monday was a bank holiday.
The infrastructure physically has to match the speed of the agents.
That's exactly. Which creates a genuine causal need for programmable money. And specifically, stablecoins.
Traditional financial services are so constrained by fragmented accounts, delayed settlements, and, like you said, restricted market hours. A database running an AI agent doesn't care that it's 5 p.m. on a Friday in New York.
Wait, let me play the skeptic here for a second, because I'm sure someone listening is thinking this. I thought we moved past the crypto hype cycle years ago.
That's a fair point.
I mean, we watched the crashes, the massive scandals, the ridiculous Super Bowl ads. Why are massive, traditional, highly regulated players suddenly issuing stablecoins in mid-2026?
It's a great question.
Look at early warning services in our stack. That's the company behind Zelle, which reprocesses, what, $1.2 trillion across U.S. banks?
Yeah, huge volume.
And our sources note they are expanding internationally to India, and their vehicle for doing this is unveiling Zelle USD, a U.S. dollar-backed stablecoin. Why are they doing that?
Because it's vital to separate the speculative noise from the underlying utility. The crypto hype cycle was largely about retail investors trading highly volatile assets to get rich quick.
Right.
But what we are seeing in these newsletters is the deployment of stablecoins as boring, invisible, essential infrastructure. It's purely about utility.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, Trace Finance just raised $32 million to build stablecoin infrastructure across Brazil and Latin America. And MassPay is partnering with Coinbase for stablecoin-powered cross-border payouts.
Oh, I see the logic there, because if you are a global payout platform today, moving fiat currency across borders means routing it through this terrible web of correspondent banks.
It's notoriously slow.
It's slow, every single bank takes a cut, and it's super prone to manual errors. But a stablecoin running on a blockchain settles instantly, anywhere in the world.
At fractions of a penny.
Yeah, fractions of a penny with a mathematically verifiable audit trail.
And this ties directly back to our discussion on AI commoditizing software. As it gets cheaper and easier for literally anyone to spin up an application using AI coding agents, the strategic advantage for businesses shifts.
Away from the software itself.
Exactly. It shifts entirely toward owning proprietary financial data and money flows. The sources really highlight that stablecoins are effectively giving embedded finance a massive second life.
So just to define that, embedded finance, meaning companies that aren't traditional banks, offering banking services natively within their own apps.
Right.
Like when Shopify offers a merchant a working capital loan right in the dashboard, or when a global payroll platform like Deal holds balances for remote contractors.
Historically, if a platform wanted to offer global balances to its users, it had to build country-by-country banking infrastructure.
Which sounds like a nightmare.
It was. You had to establish relationships with local banks in Europe, in Latin America, in Asia. It was this massive regulatory and technical bottleneck.
So stablecoins fix that.
Yeah, stablecoins allow platforms to bypass that geographic fragmentation completely. They can offer yield, facilitate instant payments, and hold balances globally using one unified technical standard.
Wow.
This allows platforms to build a really durable moat of transaction histories and proprietary lending data that competitors simply cannot replicate.
And this technology is becoming so foundational that Y Combinator, the massive startup accelerator, is now actively predicting that all of its portfolio companies will eventually use crypto technology, particularly stablecoins.
Yeah, they're very vocal about it in their sourcing.
And our newsletters note they are heavily pushing the U.S. Congress to pass the Clarity Act. That's a bill that would explicitly define what constitutes a security versus a commodity and create a clear registration path with the CFTC.
Which is a huge deal for the industry.
Now, I want to be absolutely clear to you listening. We are strictly reporting what is in the newsletters today. We aren't taking any political positions on crypto regulation or endorsing what Y Combinator or Congress should do.
Right, we're just analyzing the source material.
Exactly. We are simply pointing out that major tech accelerators view this regulatory clarity as the necessary key to unlocking deeper integration between crypto infrastructure and traditional finance.
And the operative word there is integration. If these new, invisible, programmable rails allow financial services to be embedded natively into any platform, well, it triggers a massive race.
Because everyone wants a piece of the action.
Exactly. The biggest tech and finance companies realize that the borders between different types of financial products are totally dissolving. So they all want to bundle these invisible rails into a single, comprehensive interface.
Basically, if stablecoins are removing the borders between banks, the company that builds the best interface to hold those coins suddenly owns the customer.
Yes.
And that is sparking a massive land grab. Which brings us to the rise of the super apps and an absolute wave of industry consolidation.
It's a huge theme in the stack today.
Yeah, like Coinbase is actively pitching what they call the everything exchange. They want to give you one unified account that holds your traditional stocks, your crypto, your ETFs, but also really complex instruments.
Like perpetual futures.
Right, which are essentially ways to bet on the future price of an asset without an expiration date. And prediction markets. And they want to layer all of it with AI-powered portfolio intelligence.
They're positioning themselves to be the primary dashboard for your entire financial identity.
But they have serious competition, right?
Oh, absolutely. Apple is massively expanding the role of Apple Wallet and Apple Pay in iOS 27.
What are they adding?
They are using AI natively on the device to simplify peer-to-peer payments, manage debit balances, handle pay later options intelligently, and even split complex bills. They are embedding themselves so deeply into the transaction flow that their ecosystem becomes indispensable.
For both consumers and merchants.
Clean.
And to build these everything exchanges, companies are just buying up the missing pieces. Like, we are seeing a massive M&A boom in the sources.
Huge acquisitions.
Nuvei is buying Payoneer for $2.75 billion. Why? To pair Nuvei's payment acceptance capabilities with Payoneer's massive global payout network and stablecoin functionality.
They want to own the whole loop, the money coming in and the money going out.
Right. And then Adyen is buying a billing startup called Orb for $335 million to add real-time, usage-based billing to their platform.
That Adyen acquisition of Orb is a perfect example of how the mechanics of the industry are shifting.
Because why does a huge payments giant care about a niche billing startup?
Because of the AI agents we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
If you have human users, you charge them a flat $50 monthly subscription for your sauce tool. It's super easy to bill.
Yeah, you just charge the card once a month.
Right. But if you have an AI agent pinging your API thousands of times a minute, executing microtransactions that cost fractions of a cent, flat rate subscriptions break down completely. You need real-time, dynamic, usage-based billing to monetize the agentic economy.
So what does this all mean? If I'm just a normal person listening to this, trying to manage my own money, this ecosystem feels incredibly fragmented and honestly bizarre right now.
It definitely looks chaotic from the outside.
On one end of the spectrum, you have Barclays UK acquiring a teen banking platform called Go Henry to help kids manage their allowance.
Right.
And on the absolute opposite end, the sources mention Granite Shares launching highly specific, hyper-niche products like the 2x long and 2x short daily leveraged ETFs on SpaceX.
Yeah, that's wild.
I mean, we are talking about leveraged daily bets on a private space company. How are we supposed to make sense of an ecosystem that has both of those things happening simultaneously?
Well, it's a classic barbell effect. And it's exactly what happens when technology lowers the cost of distribution basically down to zero.
The middle falls out.
The middle of the market totally falls out. On one side of the barbell, you have these highly specialized, hyper-niche products tailored for active traders or specific demographics, like the leveraged SpaceX ETFs or the teen banking apps.
Because they serve a very specific tactical purpose.
Exactly. But on the other side of the barbell, you have the mega consolidators. Apple, Coinbase, Adyen. They are trying to be the everything app. They want to abstract away all the complexity of those niche products and be the single pane of glass you look through to view your financial life.
Okay, but this exposes a glaring contradiction in our source material.
What's that?
Well, if these mega consolidators are building these massive super apps and they are processing record volumes of transactions using these new AI agents and stablecoin rails, why are they simultaneously shedding the human beings that built them?
Yeah, that is the necessary and often really painful consequence of the technological leaps we outlined at the start.
Here's where it gets really interesting and, frankly, a bit sobering for the industry. Our sources show Robinhood cutting nearly 300 employees, which is roughly 10% of its entire workforce.
A huge cut.
And they're doing this despite reporting record trading volumes and incredibly strong business performance. Their CEO stated it's to maintain a lean, high-performance organization.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the era of growth at all costs in fintech is definitively dead.
It's just over.
Completely. During the previous boom cycle, companies hired aggressively simply to capture market share and project scale. But now, the defining metric for corporate success isn't headcount, it's revenue per employee.
Right. If Ramp's SWE bench proves that AI coding agents can handle back-end financial tasks in under 45 minutes, and Mercury's AI can seamlessly run treasury operations via natural language, you simply do not need the same massive engineering and operational headcount to manage $1 billion in transaction volume.
Human talent density becomes the new priority. Companies want a much smaller team of exceptional strategic individuals steering the AI models, rather than an army of humans doing the manual plumbing.
It's all about efficiency now.
And this relentless shift toward efficiency explains other strategic moves in our stack. PayPal, for example, is entirely shutting down its venture capital arm amidst increasing market competition and takeover threats.
They are just pulling back to focus their capital inward on core efficiencies.
Right.
Meanwhile, look at who is actually getting funded in this environment. A company called Interchecks just raised a $50 million Series C.
And the newsletter specifically highlight the reason why.
Yeah, they have processed over $50 billion in transactions, but more importantly, they have operated profitably since 2023. Profitability and lean efficiency are the new growth engines.
Absolutely.
But this brings us to a really poignant piece of source material. Amidst all these billions of dollars moving around and discussions of AI efficiency, there's this deeply philosophical essay included in today's stack.
Titled, "To All the Folks Who Are About to Be Rich."
Yeah. It is a striking inclusion in a highly technical fintech newsletter, but a necessary one, I think.
Definitely. It addresses the reality that for the humans working in this industry, building these autonomous systems, the financial rewards can be immense.
But the essay brilliantly strips away the illusion that wealth naturally equates to happiness.
It states very clearly, money buys relief, it buys comfort, and it buys optionality.
Yeah.
But it does not buy automatic joy.
No, it doesn't. And the author challenges the reader to decide deliberately whether they are going to keep playing the more game.
Because when your startup gets acquired, or you get that massive exit, it is incredibly easy to let wealth consume your entire identity.
The essay warns heavily against defaulting into status consumption, buying things simply to signal to others that you can.
Or retreating into empty leisure, which ultimately leaves people feeling profoundly unfulfilled and isolated.
Instead, it argues that you should use the optionality that money provides to create shared memories, to deepen your relationships, and to find actual meaning outside of the benchmark.
Because at the end of the day, whether the rails are built on legacy correspondent banking software or programmable stablecoins on a blockchain, the money is just a tool.
Right. It is just the plumbing. It is meant to facilitate life, not be the center of it.
Exactly.
So, to bring this all together, we started today looking at how AI agents are taking the wheel, graduating from helpful chatbots to autonomous entities capable of writing production code and running corporate treasuries.
Real digital workers.
We saw how those agents require new, invisible roads to travel on, leading massive institutions like Zelle to issue stablecoins and push embedded finance to bypass global banking borders.
The programmable money layer?
Yeah. We watched the massive super apps try to own the map, buying up everything from usage-based billing to teen banking to become your everything exchange.
To the barbell effect in action.
And finally, we looked at the human cost of this incredible efficiency, where record profits no longer guarantee job security, but also where wealth itself doesn't guarantee a well-lived life.
This raises an important question for you to consider. As AI agents increasingly manage our everything exchanges, handling all the friction of our financial lives, paying our bills, optimizing our savings, categorizing our expenses, and executing our microtransactions, what are we actually going to do with the friction they remove?
That's the real question.
Will we use that saved time and optionality to create the shared memories and meaningful relationships that the essay talked about? Or will we simply let our lives run on autopilot, completely detached from the systems that sustain us, forgetting how to navigate the world for ourselves?
It's a profound thought to end on. Because just like that light switch or the copper wires hidden in your walls, we like to think the systems running our lives are clean, visible, and easy to understand. But the financial plumbing of tomorrow is autonomous, invisible, and moving faster than we can even perceive. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the hidden layers of the financial future. Keep questioning the wiring, and we will catch you next time.
Spoken Tech, for your ears.